What's up, guys? Nato and Milk Stevens here with our new channel, Gamers Guide. We're here to talk to you guys about the most recent patch that went live today, version 9.07.
This is our first video together, and we have so much in the works for you. So make sure you subscribe for more Legion content. Let's get into these patch notes.
Let's do it.
I'm very happy to see that Legion is growing to a point where they're pushing their wiki, especially that you get 2800 premium essence if you help out with it. It's pretty neat. I do want to get into the Gold Rush event a little later in the video, so definitely keep that in your brain. But I do want to talk about Flight. Just want to say, much congrats, dude. Very good dude. He's one of the masters of the game. It's well deserved, and he streams every day on Twitch. Definitely check him out.
Light, very consistent member of the community, always repping, and now on the official payroll. Congrats, dude. For the cosmetics, we have Grumpy Antler in this patch. Grumpy little boy. Love collecting cards. I have too many. This one is another one that we already got. We'll show you a little clip of that. Baby Angler joining the fray. We've got Baby Bounty Hunter. That means that the entire line of Angler, Bounty Hunter, and Kingpin are now complete, so you can match all three. Very nice to have. And then we have a little bit of a throwback here with the Frozen Throne Doppelganger skin from Warcraft 3, or, depending who you ask, from Game of Thrones.
I do like hearing the difference between what people think it's from. However, the Frozen Throne expansion is from Warcraft 3, but this is an incredible addition to the Doppelganger. I think a great aesthetic of the game. I like it.
Oh yeah, love to have it. Moving right along, the weekly challenge. If you are a weekly challenge enjoyer, the first place now gets 5,000 of the yellow in-game currency as opposed to 2,500 first place. Incredibly hard to get. Definitely worth the upgrade here. A new reward for anyone who places top 100, which way easier to do, is now 2,000. So that is super dope. You get congratulations in your inbox from the devs as well to show how awesome you did. We also have some adjustments to the ping system in the game. Previously, the top bar that shows the wave, if you left clicked or right clicked, would say expecting a send or thinking about sending on that wave. That functionality has been moved into the ping wheel. Now you hold right click, do the thought bubble, and then you do the wave you want to send on.
I also believe that the more communication in the game where you can ping, the better. The fact that pings are coded to be universal. So, for example, if you play with somebody that is from France and you ping, it will code to being French. Whereas if you try to type to them, they might not understand you, and vice versa. The more communication, the better.
Agreed.
There were minor improvements and fixes to the game. Pretty standard. The only improvement that I see to note is in Classic for dual building, you now have to ping the once to dual build icon before you start, and your teammate has 3 seconds to thumbs up, whereas before, if you try to dual build without consent, you could get banned.
All right. And moving right along into the game balance, the meat and potatoes of the patch, if you will. There was a change to ranked ladder, which doesn't affect Milk and I. If you're watching this video, it probably doesn't affect you either. It's just for the top 100 players. So just some rebalancing on how that system works and an overhaul coming in January for those players. King is much the same as he was last patch, where there was a big emphasis on making him beefier and handle larger sends while being more susceptible to the weaker sends. So it's a lot more pivotal to invest into those king ups.
Going down to the nerfs in the Legion spells, we see Glacial Touch again here getting nerfed 15 damage. As we see the devs say, still overperforming with the highest pick rate and a solid win rate. And it definitely is one of the best spells. It's useful on all waves because of the AoE for the waves with a lot of units, and the slowdown for waves with fewer units, and definitely bigger units, 13, 18 waves like that. Still a great pick.
Well said, and it's probably going to remain a good pick for another like 3 nerfs. We'll see. We also have Chlorapixie getting a little buff, little nerf. I think most would consider this a nerf. The health was lowered by 30, damage up by 2, myth gain down by 1. This changes how you would open with Chlorapixie for Fiesta. It could be a net buff for the Fiesta playstyle, but the amount of homework you're going to have to do, it changes pretty dramatically the first 4-5-ish waves for this unit. So if that's your playstyle, definitely go into Sandbox and try it out.
As we see with the Buzz and Consort nerf here, the attack speed only went down a, a 200th. So, it's a minor nerf, but it does affect opening with them if you plan to leak. It can still hold to no snail with Consort and Buzz on wave one. If they do snail, it is a 50% leak or more though. So Consort only as an opener is very risky right now. With no snail, it's 20 to 25%, but with snail, it's 75%. So only really recommend opening Consort if you do a Buzz as well.
Agree, opening with just Consort with no Buzz is a big yikes in this patch. All right, and we have Harpy and Sky Queen both getting another substantial buff. This is up nearly 0.15 on their attack speed yet again. When will it end? Still very poor openers as far as how much you can pump for workers, but they do scale into the mid and end game better. Not to say that they are mid or end game units, don't lean on them like that. However, if you do have mana in your comp, if you have steeds, then these units can definitely carry a board, no problem.
To the next unit here, we see another buff on Desert Pilgrim with mana regeneration increased by 8%. So it's not a huge buff in practice. It makes opening with it a little less costly to get the heals off. Previously, Wave 2 was difficult. You can hold generally easier with lower cost units now.
Agreed. Love to see it. Love to see the support for the Pilgrim. Moving on to Head Chef. Head Chef got additional health and a little bit more damage. This one, probably more than anything we have to show you today, is something you're really not going to notice. It's just one of those nice to haves. If you use Head Chef, this is just good. But it's not something you're going to be able to point out and say, oh, I held because of the buffs. It's just a nice to have.
Ocean Templar, this is an interesting nerf buff here. It's very low damage for the cost now. And Dark Quacker in Discord did some quick maths, and it needs to be supported by 1,950 gold to get the equivalent value for how expensive Ocean Templar is. I think that Ocean Templar still lacks identity. And in addition to that, the patch notes say that the resonance regeneration is 2.5%, and it's actually 2.7%.
Yeah, I got a little bit of an additional bump up from Jules, one of the developers. The unit is better at healing. Everything else, not so much. And like Milk said, it's very expensive. This is something you're only going to see really appearing late game. Earliest typically is wave 14. So this is just a high investment unit. It will help you for what it does, but you need to have the funds to support it. Up next, we have the Mudman, whose health was lowered from 1640 to 1600 flat. This isn't really something you can pick out and see during normal play. However, this really comes into play after you harden with Mudman. Any of the early waves where you would use a Mudman, if you harden the following wave, he takes additional damage. That's not new. What is new is with 40 less health, that's a little bit magnified. So you really need to build to support this unit on the weak waves after it's been hardened and it's taken that debuff, or you're going to leak a lot more than you expect.
Definitely. I'm sorry, Mudman. But moving on to
Me
the
too.
Elite Archer and Trinity Archer, it is a minor nerf, not too noticeable at 0.02. Again, it's still a key unit in the meta of waves 14 to 17. Still very useful. Not too much of a nerf.
No, I'm sure. This won't be noticed or remembered really as far as a change, so no worries there. Something a little bit novel is the Nightmare change. Nightmare picked up a little bit of health. He stole the health from Mudman, apparently. This is also something you're not really going to feel when you use Nightmare, but if you pair Nightmare with any kind of healing from Pilgrim or Butcher, the staying power of the unit is he's a little bit chunkier, so it does help out. Every little bit counts. Like with Butcher, this is something that's just a nice to have. A little bit of a buff.
Banana Bunk and Banana Haven as well. A little nerf here, just 0.05 of attack speed nerf. Not really that noticeable. Still pick it to carry 11, 12, 17, 19. Still a great unit.
Yeah, not something that you're really going to notice, and it's still a really good unit to have. Firelord and Phoenix, another baby nerf. Attack speed down by 0.02. not much to mention here, guys. You're not going to notice that. It's a great unit. Any nerf is probably appreciated because once you know how to use it, it's strong, but you won't notice it. So maybe next time. Moving on from that into the Soul Gate, Hell Gate, both of them have been changed to the gates themselves have half effective healing. This only comes into play if you are trying to heal them. So with Pilgrims, potentially the Seahorse Lifebinder combo, they now take half. Also with Ocean Templar, that still applies, half healing. Ocean Templar does still help gates, but to a less extent. Still a unit you're going to be picking. Don't avoid it because of the change. This only really impacts you if you're trying to go for a little bit of a cheesier build with some heals. So, no sweat.
For the mercenaries here, minor buffs to the Drake and the Cannoneer. Not really that noticeable unless you're sending a lot of them. If you send income to leak as a playable style, this definitely benefits you. Other than that, it's very minor nerf.
Agreed. Shaman got nerfed a little bit more than most of the nerfs that were on the patch list today. Mana regeneration decreased by 8%. What that effectively means is the uptime on the buff that Shaman does, the main point of Shaman, is going to be less often. So the DPS is definitely a little bit less on some of the key waves where you would use a Shaman, like 15, for example. It's not going to be as effective as it was, but it's still a very effective send. So you shouldn't avoid picking a Shaman because of this change. It's really not something that's going to make or break a game. Just a little bit of balancing so that it's not the only pick.
Now it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to speak about Gold Rush here. And honestly, I've played a couple games of it. I like it, and it adds wild drama to an already chaotic match, especially matchmaking with Nado. I it helps in certain situations where you leak. It gives you extra gold. It can just help you crank a few more workers, or 20. But I honestly like the mode. It's pretty hectic.
I agree. It's a very fun mode. It really ramps up the part of Classic that I think everybody loves the most. Just like how things kind of snowball out of control, and the additional gold per wave really helps everybody do that. Also, it kind of allows you to double down on one of two styles. You could either double down after wave 15 ish on full value, just like having an insane amount of value to hold it basically all four lanes if it comes down to that, or you can double down on just pushing way too many workers. You'll be the one that leaks on your team, but you'll leak the other team. So it kind of goes both ways. So it's fun. It's a welcome addition for the mode, for sure.
Moving on to the closing remarks, it warms my heart to see that we have 20,000 new players in Legion TD2. Welcome, everybody. That's freaking awesome. And we are here to help you. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. We see as well in the closing remarks, we have new units coming. We have a new campaign. I am so excited to see new units. The Casket and Chloropixie evolutions are so much fun to use. They're great additions to the game, and the developers seem very good at adding balanced units, which is also great. As I just said, I'm so pumped for the new campaign. I love solo play, and the campaign does teach a bit about how to send against certain builds and how to hold against bigger sends. So all I can say is, when's the next campaign coming?
For real. New units on the way, new campaign. That's such great news. I'm looking forward to all of that. Maybe not as much as some of the veteran players who've been waiting for campaign for so long, but just any news is the best news. So thank you, devs, for working on that campaign. I just finished the original campaign just like a week ago. I'm really late on it, but really happy to jump right back into it. So appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. We're so happy to have you, and we're looking forward to making some useful content for you guys.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Please drop a like if you learned something, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, everybody.
And